Locke versus Widmore. Will Happily Ever After rock the boat? And is Squirrel Baby a candidate? We'll have answers to all that and more in today's official Lost audio podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special TV Guide exclusive version of the Lost Audio podcast. We're here today with executive producers Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse to pre-hash our upcoming episode, Happily Ever After, which airs Tuesday, April 6th at 9 p.m. on ABC. They'll also take some of your fan questions, which you can contribute to at lostfanquestions@abc.com, all one word. Just make sure you check out the legalese at the end of the podcast. Here now, though, are Damon and Carlton.
Buenos dias, Damon.
Hello, Carlton.
How are you today?
I'm good. Was that some Spanish that you were using there?
Si.
I just had the opportunity to hear you speak some Swedish, which is something that I never thought I'd see with my own eyes.
Well, you know, there really wasn't ever any opportunity for me to bust out my Swedish until we actually shot.
Spoiler alert!
No, we had an awesome day today because we were shooting these Lost slapdown segments with the Muppets.
Yeah, pretty exciting. And we don't want to tell you with whom, but if Carlton was speaking Swedish...
Well, let's just say that maybe a certain person on their certain Twitter account might have mentioned a certain frog who happens to be a Muppet.
Wow. Well, that might have happened. I was very excited.
I know. I mean, literally, Kermit comes in here, it's like a rock star. Like, we met, Keith Richards when he was shooting Pirates 3, but I have to say meeting Kermit was just as special.
Before we get rolling officially on our hashing and pre-hashing and post-hashing, we should go right to our tvguide.com exclusive podcast questions. We've got a couple questions here at Carlton that we said we'd answer.
Asked by Natalie Abrams.
Yeah, would you like to go first?
I'll go first.
Go shoot.
All right, Damon. Will more of the Losties begin to cross paths in the Sideways universe?
That's a great question, and lots of questions about the Sideways universe, galaxy, whatever it is. But yes,
isn't that kind of a redundancy? Isn't the Sideways? It doesn't imply universe.
I think so. I think it does.
Yeah.
But it's safe to say
you're saying like the universe.
Yeah,
it is its own universe.
They're desperate to say alternate universe, but you and I have been so belligerent about it. Now
what we should do is take away every word that anyone could use to describe it, and then
you can't describe it in any way.
It would be like
just call it the thing. It's a symbol.
It would be the symbol known as the Sideways.
Right, the symbol known as the Sideways.
We've got to get somebody on that symbol.
It's actually, that symbol should just be two parallel lines that never intersect.
Oh my gosh.
Because that'll drive them crazy. Yes, absolutely.
Wouldn't that be an equal sign?
You call it an equal sign. I call it the symbol for the Sideways.
Okay.
So the answer is yes.
For the narrative formerly known as the Sideways.
For the narrative formerly known as the Sideways and now known as the equal sign.
Okay.
But not the equal sign. Yes, our characters...
No, seriously, there was this whole thing, I think, at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, where they took the @ symbol, and they were talking about how somebody chose that to make that, domain, for the internet, where you'd be like @DamonLindelof.com or whatever, well, there isn't a DamonLindelof.com, I don't think, but...
Do you realize I fell asleep 5 minutes ago into this explanation?
I'm sorry.
People want
the exclusive TV Guide podcast answer.
Oh, hey, you know what I heard on the Lost podcast yesterday? Carlton described the @ symbol. They want to know about the smoke monster, Carlton. One more question for the tvguide.com exclusive podcast. Carlton.
Yes.
Is Vincent's last name Wallace?
The answer, Damon, is no.
Oh, great.
Okay.
All right, I guess we're moving on then. All right. So, guys, we are a little bit exhausted from our Muppets experience. Carlton and I are not used to acting, and we're not good at it either, but we gave it the college try.
It was fun. Those things will be up. Actually, I think the next ones up are with C.J. Wilson, pitcher from the Texas Rangers.
Ooh,
Those
exciting!
will be fun.
That was a good time.
We played a little baseball with him, and the stakes were he got to ask us Lost questions, or we got to ask him baseball questions. Those are coming up on Lost Slapdown.
Last night, my wife Heidi asked me. She said, "Why do you call it a slapdown?" And I said, "Because we couldn't call it a smackdown." And she said, "Why would you call it a smackdown?" And I said, "Well, because the fans are sort of confronting us, and they're asking us." She's like, "But they're not hitting you with folding chairs. It's not some kind of wrestling thing." And then I said,
then you said,
"I'm going to go brush my teeth."
Yes. Well, that's good.
Just a little behind the
They're
scenes
fun
story.
though. So
Yeah. Speaking of fun, let's talk about the package, Carlton.
okay, let's talk about the
episode, the package.
You know what I was happy about, Damon?
What?
I was happy to see that Desmond is back on Lost. Good God, he was gone for a long time.
Just the way we like him, groggy and mysterious.
That's true.
I think that obviously if Widmore brought Desmond back to the island, there's got to be some sort of method to his madness. But knowing this show, it's going to take 3 or 4 weeks to get back to that story because there's so many other compelling things to look at.
Hey, I have one more rehash question, though.
Okay.
Locke versus Widmore. Who would you bet on in that fight?
Wow. What are the what kind of odds are you giving me?
No, just kind of straight up. But like, okay, here's the thing. Widmore's got an array of weapons. Locke is the smoke monster.
Right.
Who wins that showdown?
It's a tough question because as far as I'm aware, Widmore has no powers. He cannot turn into black smoke, nor he can shoot people. But that seems to be a talent that is not going to be useful against the smoke monster. However,
If the audience saw him turn into a 60-foot pillar of flames, do you think they would consider that to be a cheat?
back with the flames again. In all seriousness, I will say if they were just having a staring contest between Widmore and Locke, just a glare off.
Yeah.
My money's on Widmore.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay.
All right.
Very good.
We've already kind of prehashed Happily Ever After.
Yeah.
We can just say if you like Desmond, you're going to like this episode.
You'll be happy. If you've been waiting for Desmond, if you've been patiently waiting through Richard Alpert mythology, great. Yes, he was on a ship. I want to know what Desmond is.
Now here's the thing
Then you're gonna like this episode.
Here's the thing about Desmond episodes on our show, though. Sometimes they tend to rock the boat a tad. They tend to. Desmond is a guy that we've said the rules don't apply to him. He moves around in time and space, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. Is it possible that something really interesting is going to happen on Lost next week? For once,
I think for once there might be
Good.
something interesting that happens.
All right.
Okay.
Let's move on to fan questions.
This is going to be kind of a shorter podcast because we actually have a ton of stuff to do, and we also unfortunately will not be doing a podcast next week because Damon and I are going to Hawaii where we are shooting the finale, and we want to actually watch some of that and participate in the making of the final episode.
Well, we're not going to act in it or anything.
No,
We're just
we are
gonna
not acting in it.
participating.
We are participating in the
No
creative
cameos,
process,
no.
but you will not be seeing us on camera.
All right.
Okay, you want to go first?
Sure. This is a question that has cropped up a couple different times, and I feel it's time for you and I to address it. Hey, Damon and Carlton. My name is Connor Thomas. This question has been nagging me since I first seen the episode. I'm reading this verbatim. The Man Behind the Curtain, and I have yet to find an answer. So why does Richard Alpert have long hair when he first met young Ben, but looks the same with the clean-cut short hair in every other time on the island, including the time just 1 year later in the episode La Fleur, when he speaks to Sawyer about the truce? Sincerely, Connor Thomas. So was Richard just trying out a new look?
That was exactly it. I mean, it was kind of the 70s. There was a lot of, people who had long hair in the 70s, and I think briefly, Alpert's hair continued to grow even if he did not age. That we can absolutely confirm. And for a brief period of time, he tried a different look, but then decided that, his eternal look was better.
Oh, nice. I would actually go on to say that we've known that Alpert left the island. So is it possible that he kind of he joined a commune for a while, or?
Yeah, he might just have needed to look a little bit different for whatever he was doing off the island.
Wow.
So
there we go. That clears that up.
As clear as it's going to get.
Check that off your list.
Question, check.
Next.
All right. Hi, Damon and Carlton. This is from Brent Endicott.
Ooh.
Brent would like to know, why isn't Squirrel Baby a viable candidate to replace Jacob? I think Squirrel Baby would do an amazing job and has clearly demonstrated the necessary skills to get it done. Also, I can't wait for Squirrel Baby's shocking sideways revelation in the series finale.
Wow.
Now, that's a trick question because that's actually trying to get you to confirm that Squirrel Baby will have a scene in the finale. I just want to point that out to you so you don't get tricked.
Wow, that's such a great question. I don't even know where to start, other than to say that unfortunately for Squirrel Baby, it would appear that the Jacob selection process sort of predated Squirrel Baby's existence. We don't know exactly when Claire began to craft Squirrel Baby, but it feels like the lighthouse was already built, as they say.
That's true.
As the old adage goes, once the lighthouse is built and the mirrors are pointed, it's too late to include Squirrel Baby. It's originally a Latin
That's
phrase.
good.
Hi, Decusium. You're going to love this one.
I know it. I know I am already.
This question has staying power. From Robin in Vancouver, British Columbia. Was there a creative decision made never to use the word whom on Lost? I realize that this isn't a show about a group of English professors, but we do have a group of people of various ages, literacy, and nationalities, some of whom learned English formally as a second language. In real life, some people use it and some don't. Just like any other level of vocabulary or grammar, I noticed that you don't use whom yourselves on the podcast, even in places where a lot of English speakers will. For example, you say, by who? Is the word banned? If an actor slips up and accidentally corrects the grammar in his or her dialogue, do you have them do it over with the object case who? Or is it just that your writers don't know the word, so never put it in scripts?
Wow, Robin, that is a great question. You know, sometimes people ask us if there's ever been any Easter eggs that have never been discovered on Lost. And,
bingo.
Bingo, right there. The word whom. It is banned from the set. There are big signs that are, all over down on Hawaii. It's like never use the word whom.
Well, this is actually a great question because in season 1, there was a time when it was used, and then we realized only jerks use whom. So we put up a sign that said, only jerks use whom. So whenever anybody used it, they didn't want to be thought of as a jerk. Moving on. What's
All
next?
Right. I have a question, Damon, from Martin Olofsson, who is from Uppsala, Sweden.
Okay.
God bless you, Martin, listening to us up there. I hope spring's coming soon. So, in the season 1 finale, you blew up the hatch. In the season 2 finale, the Swan Station imploded. In the season 3 finale, the beach camp and a big part of the others exploded. In season 4, it was the freighter and the crew. They exploded. And last season ended with the entire island getting nuked. Are you perhaps planning any big explosions for the series finale as well?
Wow.
Thank you for the epic saga that is Lost.
And by saga, you mean series of explosions, I guess. Here's what I think we can say here. There is an episode coming up in the near future, perhaps in the next couple weeks, and Carlton and I often have to sort of go over and look at visual effect shots to see how they're progressing. And never before have I seen so many explosions in a single episode of Lost.
Boom.
Yeah. I mean,
boom goes the dynamite.
There's an explosion in almost every act of the show. As far as the finale goes, there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of explosions, but we shouldn't say every act.
Not every act. It feels like, though. It feels like there's a disproportionate amount of explosions.
There's some explosions.
And then there's discussion about explosions.
Yeah.
But as for the finale
to blow
itself,
things up.
Yeah. As for the finale itself,
we can't say.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Perhaps.
Okay.
Damon and Carlton. Hello, I'm Lena from Tunisia. This is the way she starts her question. And Tunisia, obviously, a favorite, a place of ours, because that's where you turn up when you turn the donkey wheel. My question is about the Man in Black. If he wants to leave the island so badly, why didn't he take any form he wanted and just leave on the Dharma submarine back in the 70s, or even Desmond's boat later? Why does Jacob have to die for him to leave? How specifically was Jacob holding him? So, some of these questions we might not want to answer, but let's talk about this a little, CC.
It's a very good question because it's exactly the question the audience should be asking. I mean, why can't the Man in Black leave the island? Maybe there's some other rules. Maybe there's some other circumstances that are precluding him from leaving the island. Would that be a reasonable assumption?
Well, last night,
conjecture.
In the package, he told Jin that he needed, apparently, all the candidates to leave together with him. So maybe that's a part of it. But before these candidates even existed, maybe there was another reason.
Yeah, it's a very, very thoughtful question, and I would hope that the show would actually address that a little bit more.
Yeah, well, Don't hold your breath.
Okay, Damon, since this is the last question for you, I'm going to crank up the intensity here, okay?
I'm ready to be cranked.
Every one of your brain cells ready for this one, okay?
Go for it.
This is from Morgan McPherson. Hi, Damon and Carlton. My name is Morgan, and I'm a communications major at the George Washington University in Washington, D.C., and I'm doing my senior thesis on Lost.
This is going to be a tough one.
My working thesis for this project is the mythological narrative of Lost is built through narrative complexity with time flashes, character subplots, and alternate realities, religion, mythological references, focusing primarily on Catholicism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, and Greek mythology, and outsider real-world constraints such as financing or network executive influences. My questions for you are these. Do you believe that Lost has become its own mythology? 2, if so, did you intend to make it a mythology by using a complex narrative structure and the religious mythological references cited above? And 3, do you find any merit in my thesis?
Yes, no, and yes.
Yes. Booyah!
Bazammo! Put that in your thesis, smart guy, and be sure to use lots of whom's. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up.
I think we should stop right there.
We'll see you guys in a couple weeks. We hope you enjoy Happily Ever After.
Indeed.
Carlton, if it's called Happily Ever After, does that mean that everyone at the end of that episode is going to be living happily ever after?
Are you kidding? It's Lost.
Wah,
Not a chance.
Alrighty. Well,
All right.
See ya.
Adios.
That's it for this podcast. Happily Ever After airs Tuesday, April 6 at 9 p.m. on ABC. Please note that by submitting your questions, you agree to ABC's terms of use, and you agree to have your name, city, state, and question included in this podcast. All submissions become the property of American Broadcasting Companies, Incorporated, and may be used, edited, republished, or published in any manner and in any media throughout the world in perpetuity without compensation. You must be 18 years or older to send email to abc.com.